Well, good afternoon, everybody. What a great morning and a great lunch. Let's give a round of applause for the folks. We think everyone's making it back in. I'm Jordan McMillan, the Vance County Manager, and I have the privilege of introducing our next speaker. And if you think this morning was good, we have a lot of great, large, big hitters on schedule this afternoon. Our next speaker is and leads the state's largest economic development agency, the North Carolina Department of Commerce. I want to say a few things about the department. They've been a great partner for our region, also for Vance County. You heard during the introductions early this morning the building reuse grant that Henderson's working on with Mariah Parham Health. From the county, Vance County standpoint, we're getting ready to spend $2.5 million to bring infrastructure into Phase 3 of the Henderson-Vance Industrial Park, all of those grants through the Department of Commerce. And so this individual who leads that department has his fingers on the pulse of what companies need in order to expand and grow their businesses in our state. He has a great understanding of the programs that are available to help both rural and urban areas of the state improve. He became North Carolina's Secretary of Commerce in January of 2017. Named to the post by Governor Roy Cooper, which marked a return to the agency for him. Earlier in his career, he served as the Assistant Commerce Secretary, owned his own law practice, and grew a successful telecommunications startup company. He has an insider's knowledge of how companies select sites and decide where to invest. He's traveled the world meeting global companies, promoting the benefits of doing business in North Carolina, and negotiating major economic development deals. He's a native of Hertford, North Carolina. He's a graduate of Duke University as well as Western Michigan University School of Law, and he brings a very unique perspective to economic development. So if you all welcome Secretary Tony Copeland.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure to come back. I love it up here, all of you are great people. Harry Mills always opens up a big kahuna for me to come back. And then I just saw Benny Finch, and I guess he's moved into town now, he tells me. That he's an urban developer. No, thank you. We have any legislators here today? Representative, county commissioners? The reason I ask that, I say that because before I bring you greetings from Governor Cooper, it's the county commissioners, the people in the General Assembly, city council people that basically fund the things that make economic development, that get it started. And much of that, besides workforce, and I'm going to talk about that, it's infrastructure, water, sewer, broadband, roads, and those things. And many times you're asked to fund things that sometimes you never get to sit under the shade of the tree that you funded. And politically, that can cause a lot of indigestion sometimes when you're doing this. But people need to really thank you for doing that, and I do, and I understand what it takes. It can take sometimes 30 years before we see the result when we start building sites. You know, all over the state of North Carolina, I travel and people tell me, well, we've got a site for development. Well, it's just real estate until it has the infrastructure there. And companies now, when they come and look at it, they want to start now. If you tell them you'll put it in, you're probably too late. When Toyota was looking at North Carolina, for instance, they were looking at the site, and they said for every hour they were late in production was $86,000. So every company's looking at that type of metrics, no matter what they're doing, perhaps not in that level of expenditures. But I just bring that to make you aware and want to thank the people who are in the forefront in making all of this happen. But I want to be clear that I'm here, one thing that I want to talk about today is workforce. No company's going anywhere where they expect the workforce to fall out of an airplane. It's just not going to happen. And it's one of the things that you have proximity to, and being proximate to the triangle and your community college. How many community college people do we have here? You're probably the greatest incentive that we have so far as your customized training and what you do there. I was just told before we came in, and we're doing a lot of work with workforce in the department. When I was appointed to this in January of 2017, our workforce division had never really been refocused from where we were in the first part of the 21st century, which was mainly rapid response, bankruptcies, and foreclosures. We were doing 30 to 60,000 layoffs a year at that point. I want to say today we are at full employment. So it's an opportunity for change the focus of what we're doing. And I was just told here that Warren County now is moving their workforce office onto the campus of the community colleges. And that's one of the things that we really want to merge all of that for our wraparound strategy with workforce, the community colleges, and even involvement with K through 12 in the universities. One of the things I think that's happened a lot with community colleges and helped much of it is the fact that now community colleges enable you to take a curriculum to go further, lift that glass ceiling, and go to a university if at some point you choose to do that. I think that's a marked change. The apprentice programs are something I think too that we need to work at, we need to expand it, and we need to embrace it more. But I just want to say what I do want to announce and talk about and tell you, in the last 3 years, the Department of Commerce has announced nearly 65,000 jobs. $65,000 jobs. Just this week, we had announcements in Edenton, Battleboro, Goldsboro, and Sanford in the first 2 days of this week. We're continuing that. Our pipeline is beginning to be full, and thank you for everything that you do. The S&P 500 has risen nearly 22% this year. Unemployment rate's at a 50-year low, and we're at 3.7%, which some people would say is a workforce shortage because of disruptions. The number of people employed increased last year by 137,000 in North Carolina alone. Right here in this county, we've given building reuse grants and other grants to Maria Parham Medical in Franklin County. In Person County, we announced Pollywood, 384 jobs. In Granville County last fall, we announced OnTech Engineering. More to come. We brought more than 1,000 new jobs to your region since 2017. As the state continues to grow, we grow larger and larger. We're the ninth most populous state in the country today. We've grown by 1 million people in the last 10 years. We're growing by 100,000 people per year. Raise your hand if you were born in North Carolina. It might be higher than the average, I'm not sure. 50% of all North Carolina residents now are non-native, which is a phenomenal change that we've experienced. But you know, winning comes to those who are prepared, and I just spoke about that. It's not luck. It's the ability to see and create the future, and it comes to those who are prepared. We're at Commerce helping you focus on that with all the programs that we have for infrastructure. Let's go about talent. It's been estimated that 67% of all jobs will need a post-secondary education by 2025. Let me digress a minute. By 2025, we're also saying that 30% of all of our automobiles in North Carolina will not have an internal combustion engine. So community colleges, you need to be looking at retraining some of those 200,000 people in North Carolina that make automobile parts. That's going to be a big disruption in this state if we're not prepared to retool and retrain those people as some of their jobs disappear by virtue of the change in technology in automobiles. We're graduating about 60,000 university graduates a year in North Carolina. We have about 237,000 people enrolled in universities at any given moment, and over 700,000 people in community colleges. We talk about workforce shortages. That's why we're still getting the looks, for one reason, because we're growing our workforce. Every state, in many ways, and even in the world, is focused right now on the need of talented and trained workforce. I think we are prepared for that, and we need to continue to move forward to the future with that. By 2030, we're aiming for 2 million people between 25 and 44-year-olds to hold a higher degree in this state. That's along with reorganizing things, NC Works, with some of the community college programs and other things. JP Morgan Chase, who's made a significant financial investment in the state's innovation new system, NC Careers. You're going to see a lot of fantastic things with NC Careers as people focus on being able to access that, determine their careers and their futures. We're cooperating and working with the Department of Health and Human Resources, the community colleges, the Department of Public Instruction, the UNC system, and our independent colleges. But I want to speak about one other thing. Governor Cooper charged the cabinet and us. He wants us to leave. One of the legacies he wants us to leave, which will entail all of the things we just talked about, is for the people of North Carolina to be better educated, healthier, with more money in their pockets. And I want to talk about the health part for a second. Anytime I speak with the business community, including the NC Chamber, they say healthcare is one of the largest things facing employers. I look at rural North Carolina in particular, and I look at our rural hospitals. Many are struggling. Many are struggling because of the lack of reimbursement for patients that are being served, that need to be served. I'm not in any way disparaging that. But one of the things we need to address, and the governor is pushing, is that Medicaid expansion. Medicaid expansion, especially in your counties, will come to the rescue of your rural hospitals. It's also a large employer. Medicaid expansion would bring 40,000 new jobs to North Carolina. It would bring nearly 800 new jobs to your region alone as an economic stimulus. 3,000 jobs to Durham County alone. So as an economic engine, it's second to none of where we need to go. In closing and conclusion, let's talk about where we've come from. In 1950, North Carolina was the second poorest state in the country. We were 47 out of 48 states. It's unbelievable. In 1960, there were other people involved with this too, but Terry Sanford was the only Southern governor that supported John Kennedy for president. The Research Triangle was then a dream. It was beginning to be formed. Luther Hodges, his predecessor, was named U.S. Secretary of Commerce. Tom Watson, who was the CEO of IBM, was personal friends with John Kennedy, and IBM was located here to the Triangle, and the EPA became the anchor tenant here. Our university system was consolidated, the community colleges were created, the School of Math and Science, the School of the Arts. Our traditionally black institutions of higher learning were reinforced. And then in 1982, the New York Times called us the Dixie Dynamo. It said you have the South and then you have North Carolina. And I think we've remained that distinguishing factor forever. We have a gross state product of nearly $600 billion annually. In comparison, South Carolina is almost $200 billion. Just to put it in the scheme of things. If we were a country, our economy is larger than Sweden's. And we continue to grow. But there are issues we need to deal with, and some of them are particularly, you feel the pain of some of that. We're seeing rural North Carolina has been disparately affected. But I do believe that our growth patterns in the 60-mile surrounding urban areas have a lot of potential, and I think you are in that. We are committed to working with that strategy and working with you to improve all of North Carolina, but also all of your region. Thank you for inviting me here today. I work for you, and I look forward to continuing that. Thank you.
Thank you for those comments, Mr. Secretary, and for your partnership to Person County and the region in your years of service. Good afternoon and welcome to Act 3. Thank you for sticking around after lunch, and thank you to all the EDCs for helping to sponsor that great food. I'm Sherry Wilburn, and I'm the Director of Economic Development for Person County. I had some comments prepared in a little greater detail about all the awesome things that we have going on with product development and workforce development in our county. But for the sake of ensuring that these great partners have an opportunity to share all the innovative things that are going on in the state and in the region, let me just say that our motto is everything is better in person, and I invite you to come and see why we say that. One of the things that's great is our partnerships and collaboration. And without that, we will not exceed in the area of innovative workforce. So today we have with us several partners. Dr. Jenny Harris, who's the Executive Director of Business Services for North Carolina Department of Commerce Division of Workforce Solutions. Dr. Harris is going to speak to us about innovative things going on at the state level. Next, we will have Dawn Michelle Tucker to come out from Vance Granville Community College, which serves 4 out of 5 of the counties in the Kerr-Tar region. And then Dr. Senegal, President of Piedmont Community College, will tag team with Ms. Judy Bratcher from Person County Schools to talk about the pipeline development that we have in Person County. And then finally, Rhonda High, the Customized Training Director of Halifax Community College, has agreed to come and talk to us about an advanced manufacturing initiative that's been a success story in a neighboring region, and you may have heard of that as referred to as Ramp East. So without further ado, I will introduce our speakers. Dr. Jenny Harris is, as I mentioned, is the Executive Director of Business Services at the North Carolina Department of Commerce Division of Workforce Solutions. She is a senior level strategist and advisor who provides strong vision and leadership for the state's alignment of economic and workforce development. Jenny received her Bachelor of Arts in Professional and Technical Writing and Public Media Relations from UNC Wilmington and graduated summa cum laude from the NC Central University with her Master's in Public Administration with an emphasis in economic policy and organizational management. She received her doctorate in Public Policy Administration from Westchester University. Please help me welcome Dr. Harris. Dawn Michelle Tucker enters her 3rd year serving as Dean for Continuing Education and for College and Career Readiness at Vance Granville Community College. Prior to serving at Vance Granville, Dawn served in different capacities during her 13-year tenure at Central Carolina Community College, Coordinator for Academic Assistance, Mathematics Instructor, and Dean for College and Career Readiness. Before embarking on a career at the community college, Dawn Michelle taught high school mathematics, facilitated professional development in mathematics instruction and technology integration, and was department chairperson for the mathematics department. Dawn Michelle earned her undergraduate and graduate degrees in mathematics education at Augusta State University and Georgia State University. Dawn Michelle currently serves on the United Way of Vance County Board and served on the Ingram Family YMCA Board in Sanford, North Carolina. Let's give her a warm welcome. Dr. Pamela Gibson Senegal is the president of Piedmont Community College. She previously served as vice president of economic and community development at Central Carolina Community College. She brings more than 20 years of higher education leadership, business experience, and community service to her function. Dr. Senegal holds undergraduate degrees in political science and Spanish, a master's in public administration, and a doctorate in adult and community college education, all from NC State University. She also holds a training and development certificate from UNCC and the American Society for Training and Development. She is a 2020 Aspen New President's Fellow. Thank you for being here, Dr. Senegal. Next up, Judy S. Bratcher has been serving in education for over 20 years in various capacities, from preschool teacher to collegiate dean. In her current role, she serves Person County Schools as the Director of Career and Technical Programs of Early College and the direct liaison for the Career and College Promise. Ms. Bratcher is a member of multiple committees and is the current president of Person County United Way. She's the 2019-2020 North Carolina DPI North Central Region CTE Administrator of the Year. Welcome, Judy. Rhonda High serves as the Customized Training Director at Halifax Community College in Weldon, North Carolina, where she proactively develops customized training programs to meet the needs of the local business community. Ms. High is also responsible for the development of the Regional Advanced Manufacturing Pipeline of Eastern North Carolina, or RAMP East, at Halifax Community College. Ms. High is a Texas native who graduated from Sam Houston State University in 1998 with a Bachelor of Business Administration and Accounting. In 2012, Ms. High later became a graduate of Strayer University with a Master's in Business Administration with a concentration in Management. Again, we want to be respectful of your time this afternoon, not knowing what the weather's going to do, but we do hope to have a Q&A at the end of the panels. So we're going to use that Slido.com. If you didn't get that event code this morning, you go to Slido.com, and the code is R463. So we hope to have time to engage with you through that means towards the end. So you want to do it here? Okay.
Which one? I'm so challenged.
I
with
think,
these.
okay.
Let's just put that
Here we
out
go.
there. Okay, great. And this is on. Wonderful. Hello, I'm Dr. Jenny Harris, and I am here to talk about workforce development, and I can't talk and sit or stand still, so I'm really sorry, but I'm going to move. I have a lot of energy. Do I hit? I told you. There it is. So there's a lot of economic developers, there's a lot of elected officials, there's a lot of town administrators in the room, and I wanted to ask, I talked during lunch to some of you about what workforce development really means to an economic developer, because let me show you what I normally get. That. And this is actually a pretty good one, because this is from St. Louis, and St. Louis actually broke out some of the programs and color-coded some of them in blue so that they made sense for local, state, and federal workforce programs. But what it really is really, really simple. And I understand from what I learned during the lunch break is that this area is #1 in the state for collaborations with economic developers and workforce developers. I met Harry, I met Dennis, I met a couple other people during the lunch break, and I really heard a lot of what I really want to see across the state. So I wanted to talk a little bit about, first of all, from our office, the Division of Workforce Solutions with the North Carolina Department of Commerce, we're funded on the federal level. And some of you may know this and some of you don't, but I want to get real basic just to be able to say, so that you all understand where the money comes from and where we have an opportunity to be a resource. Because like Jennifer Lance said earlier, if you don't have product, you can't sell your region, you can't sell your place. If you don't have people, you can't sell your place either. And then Hillary said, if you're an economic developer, it's your job, it's your responsibility to look at all the resources that are available. So I'm going to share what some of those are too, if you don't already know about them. So federal legislation says that we have to do two things. It does not, it's not clicking back to that crazy map. It does not have to look like the crazy map. It's two things. We are tasked with fostering the alignment of economic and workforce development, and we're also tasked with encouraging regional collaboration. I think y'all are already doing that, right? Everybody clap for Harry and all the other that are already doing that. So it's real easy. It's not crazy. It's just those two things. So there's ways to do this. The first way is to know who your business service representative is. Each local area workforce development board has a business service representative. How many of you all know your BSR? We call them. You know how we are in government. We use our acronyms. How many of you know the BSR here? I want to see everybody raise your hands. Okay. Lou, you're going to have to stand up. Lou Grillo, I told him I was going to call him out. Everybody give him a round of applause. Lou Grillo is the business service rep for the Workforce Development Board in the Kerr-Tar region. His job, and a lot of you economic developers will recognize this, his job is to make client visits. Big surprise. Provide incentives for expansion projects. Evaluate the economic needs of the region. Aren't you all the economic developers doing this? Isn't that what the county managers and the town administrators want from their teams, from their economic and workforce developers to grow business and to identify target industry sectors for growth? That's what they do. So make sure if you don't know Lou that you know Lou by the end of the day. I hope you brought a lot of business cards. Here's what we can do for you. We have workforce incentive grants. So when economic developers are out there working on economic expansion projects, recruitment projects, we have buckets of money. And I know we're not really supposed to word it that way, but we have buckets of money. We have resources like Hillary talked about that you all need to know about. A lot of them you've heard of, but you might not know exactly what they are. And I'm not going to read all this because I just put it up there in case anybody wants a copy of the presentation. But on-the-job training. There are ladies up here who are going to talk about some of this maybe, I don't know, from the community college perspective. On-the-job training, if you're going to hire somebody, use the resource to get some money, some funds to help support the salary for those new employees and get them trained up to do exactly what you want them to do. Incumbent worker trainer. Now, I'll tell you, before I went into economic development, which was 84,000 years ago, I had no idea what incumbent meant. And so from a business perspective, you go talk to a business owner and you say incumbent worker training, they're going to look at you like you've got four heads, right? But incumbent is just your current employees, and I assume that most of you all already know that. So incumbent worker training is the opportunity to upskill your own people. You're growing, you're expanding, you're bringing on new technology. You need to upskill your people. Take advantage of the resources for incumbent worker training grants. Work opportunity tax credits. This is, I think, honestly, one of the biggest secrets. Work opportunity tax credits are tax credits for the business who hire different specific target labor pools. Veterans, former offenders, people who haven't been working for at least 6 months, people who are on other social assistance programs, tax credits for the business just for hiring people who need a little bit of help finding a job. It's not that bad. And federal bonding, that's another one. We partner really well with the federal bonding office just across the hall from us that offers bonding for businesses who hire youth, people who haven't had a lot of job experience, former offenders. So there's opportunities to access these untapped labor pools that you might not have normally thought about. Now, understand that Harry will go to a grocery store and pick up somebody that's in the grocery line to go get them a job. So he's our model economic developer. But we want more people to be thinking of the bigger picture, who's out there, who needs a job, and how can we help them, and where are the resources to do that. Business Edge is another program. I just want to take a few minutes to talk about that. It's federally mandated about 2 years ago. Business Edge, and all you economic developers that have not heard of this program, take note. This is a program that's run through the Rapid Response Program. Secretary Copeland talked about that. When a business is closing, when it's having a mass layoff, we go through the the Rapid Response process. Business Edge is the program that's for layoff aversion. We want to get to that business before it gets to a mass layoff or a closure. So if there's a company and economic developers town administrators, everybody, community leaders. You all know business owners. And if there is a challenge that a business has, please let Lou know. Please let that news get to Lou so he can contact us, or any of you can contact us and talk about the Business Edge program, because what we have is a specific set-aside bucket of money, but really some other resources and partnerships with the SBTDC, the Small Business Development Technology Center, the small business centers, the North Carolina State is a big state day, isn't it? The NC State Industry Expansion Solutions Program. Anybody who helps businesses, who has programs or resources to help, services that help businesses, we are partnering with them for Business Edge, because we want to get to those businesses that are having financial challenges. We want to get to those that are having problems with health and safety. OSHA training is one of the big topics that comes up. They need OSHA certification. So we help get that done so that the business doesn't close down, pay big fines, lay off people because they just can't afford to keep going. Operational functions are another one. If you have a new product that came in and you're just not able to upskill your people, you're not able to meet deadlines, you're not able to get work done, it's going to potentially affect your bottom line. And if it does that, then you've got to find resources, and a business owner is going to look at ways to lay off people to level that out. So we want to get to them before that. So Business Edge, please don't forget that program. If you ever come across a business and you just don't know if they'd qualify, just call Lou anyway. The other big thing that we're doing at the state level is target industry sector partnerships. There are sector partnerships happening across the state. Somebody's going to be talking about Ramp East. Ramp East is a big one. Sector partnership is exactly what it is. It's a partnership of people, resources, agencies that come together and help promote a sector, a specific sector. So what the governor did, he wants to have a specific initiative, put a state council together of workforce, economic development, DPI, the university system, community college system, the usual people. And we put out a notice that we were looking for teams, regional collaboration, these teams of people who would get together and talk about a specific target industry in their region and tell us how they were going to go about building that pipeline for that industry. How are you going to build that industry and promote it in your region? How are you going to work on the workforce side? How are you going to recruit businesses? How are you going to train people? That's what we wanted to hear. So last July, we put out a call for applications and asked for people to tell us what they were doing. And we identified 3 that we wanted to help support. There's no specific funding behind that support, but what there is technical assistance to help get that launched. Now, I understand that in the West, the McDowell County and surrounding counties that are working on an advanced manufacturing sector are doing a great job. They've got a lot of industry involved, they've got a lot of the state partners involved, and they're really on their way to develop curriculum and do some other things that they want to do, some special initiatives. The Lee County, Chatham County, Lee County region is looking at biotech, which is, there's lots of announcements recently down there, so they're looking at that region. How are we going to support that? And they're getting on their way with some of that. And then the other one is, where are we? It's in Durham and Person County, and we're talking, I think you're involved with that, right? That one is another one around manufacturing, and they're really having good conversations about how they're going about pulling in the industry leaders, finding out what they really need to help build that industry in their region. So sector partnerships, we've got 3 of them now. We've got 2 kind of in the works that I'm really excited about. Aviation in the east and fintech around Charlotte. That makes sense, right? So we're hoping to build on those and have more sector partnerships around the state. But again, it's really to start looking at the regional collaborations and how we can support that on a local and regional level. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Good afternoon. So as I was looking at the agenda and saw that we get to present to you after lunch, I thought, wow, what a good position to be in. We get to share with you right after you've had lunch. Lunch was delicious, and so I was trying to decide, are we in the best position to be sharing with you after you've had lunch, or was Harry in the best position to be sharing with you before lunch? So we hope that we definitely have a lot to share with you and some information. Just as a reminder, my name is Dawn Michelle Tucker, and I serve as Dean for Continuing Education and College and Career Readiness at Vance Granville Community College. And what I wanted to do was just share with you from a local level how we are able as a college to respond to the needs of business and industry, and how we are working to do our part to build a workforce that is skilled and prepared to go to work. So developing talented and innovative people, how do we do this? We retain our employees, we retain students, because if we keep them to retention, we know as a community college that we've given them the introductory skill set, or even a comprehensive skill set of what it is they need to be able to do to be successful in the workplace. And as an employer, you want to retain your employees, especially those that are skilled and talented and that are showing that they have the potential to do more and be more for your organizations. So from a college perspective and from an employer perspective, we want to keep those employees. Retrain. There are always opportunities. As we've talked here lately, change is that common ground. There are always new opportunities, new jobs, new skills that are required. And so as a community college, we can respond rather quickly to those new needs, the new innovations. And so we are there to definitely help give opportunities to the individuals in our communities that want to learn a new skill, and then to those employers in our communities that need those new skills to be able to be more effective and serve their communities as well. And then retooling. We want people, and we as a people just want to feel more useful. We want to have additional skills so that we are more useful to our employers rather, and just as a contributor to our communities. So in specific, how at Vance Granville Community College are we retaining our community, our individuals in our community? So one specific example is our heavy equipment operator program. So we started at this program, and we've had this actual program for several years. And so finally we had a conversation with Sunrock. Well, actually Sunrock came to us, and they were honest, and they said, we want to hire the students that complete your heavy equipment operator program. But when they come, for some of them, we're scared to put them on the equipment. As you can see, that bulldozer is a pretty big, hefty equipment. And the people that are working around that bulldozer, they want to know that they don't have to watch out for the person that's in the bulldozer. And so they came to us and they said, we want to do more, because just that one class, although it is a good jump off, it's a good start for them, it's just not enough. And so they asked us, what can we do? How can we help? And so we came around the table, had a couple of meetings. They were very involved in the process because, again, they want to keep their employees. And the good thing about Sunrock is that they not only want to keep their employees, they want to give those employees a chance to grow and make being a heavy equipment operator a career where they start and then they move on. And so what were some of the things that Sunrock was telling us that they needed? Critical thinking skills. They need to know why. They need to know the why behind the bulldozer and the different machinery. They need critical thinking skills. They need to know how, be able to make decisions based on understanding the why behind the machinery and the equipment, and even the places that they're working. And so that meant one class wasn't going to be enough. One class for a couple of months wasn't going to be enough. So we had some conversations. We brought Ken Wilson to the table, who is our apprenticeship guru, and we decided that an apprenticeship would be an ideal opportunity for our heavy equipment operator students, We would give them the advanced coursework through the apprenticeship, and Sunrock would employ them and allow them hands-on opportunities. And then another thing that we did in our introductory heavy equipment operator class is they did have the opportunity to use the simulators, as you can see, but they also, during the class, we wanted them to get their hands-on opportunities in that class. And Sunrock was very willing to work with us. They came out, they offered the land, the equipment, and so as a result, retention was the goal for both of us, and we're working to accomplish that by offering the apprenticeship. So they will get the on-the-job, hands-on training. They are going to come back for that additional coursework to advance those problem-solving skills and critical thinking skills. So that was just our efforts for retention, and something that took place within a short period of time. It didn't take us a long time to come to the table and figure out what it is we needed to do. Oh, I want to go back. I have one more good thing to say about this. The guy in the bulldozer, his name is Montez. And Montez was in our initial heavy equipment operator class. And he got out there on that bulldozer because we took field trips to Sunrock. He impressed them so that they offered him a job after he finished the first course. And so he's been there for a couple of weeks and is enjoying the job. So those partnerships, those collaborations, just like you said earlier, are very important. Introducing our students to those opportunities, giving them, some opportunities to actually be hands-on has worked out, and that exposure for them is great. Now, y'all, if I were 30 years younger, I would run across this stage, do a round-off, flip-flop, in the air, triple-double, Simone Biles, something, because we are so excited about our truck driver training program, because as was stated earlier, it is an in-demand field. Jobs are just lots of jobs in this area, and it gives us an opportunity as a community college to serve individuals that may have had some challenges along the way and just need that opportunity to be able to start afresh, start anew. And so that was the intent of us reviving, because we had the program before, but we revived it. And a week and 1 day ago, we started the journey to changing lives for 19 students, 2 or 3 of which are ladies. So we have some ladies in that class as well. And so exciting for us about the CDL program, or the truck driver training program, is that literally in their first year, they can start out at around $45,000. And of course, as they grow and get more experience, that number can only go up for them. And more importantly, just like we said in retraining, we're giving those individuals an opportunity to learn a new skill and change their careers in only 10 weeks. Isn't that something? Retooling. So, paramedic program is saving money. How many people as employers like to hear that word, save money? You like that word, right? And so what we have discovered, or what actually my supervisor, VP Edmonds, he just happened to be in the place where they were talking about community paramedics or community paramedicine. And so he brought the idea to us, and of course, I looked at him, wasn't quite sure that I understood what community paramedic and what community paramedicine was, but when you work as a team, you try to make things happen. And as we've gotten to know more and more about the community paramedicine program, and what we realize is that for emergency medical technicians or paramedics, a lot of times they serve repeat 911 callers. So they probably at some point in time know some people by name or by address, because they call them not knowing that there are other avenues or other ways that they can be treated. They just know to call 911. And so what Franklin County has done and decided to do was to hire a community paramedic. And what this community paramedic does is works with people in the community. They have identified their repeat 911 callers, and they try to go out and be proactive about how they're serving them. Well, as an EMT or a paramedic, you're trained to respond to emergencies and to transport people to the hospital. That's what you're trained to do. But to be a community paramedic, you have to get some additional training, because you're going to have to deal with the citizens or the community a little differently. And so retooling was our opportunity at Vance Granville to give those EMT, those paramedics, an opportunity to expand, to retool, to become more useful in what they are able to do as they are serving their counties. And so through this class, through this opportunity that we're just initiating, our communities wanting to save money, employers who are wanting to save money, they're going to be looking to these community paramedics. And because we've been proactive, they'll have some community paramedics that are already there and available to assist them, which will make the decision process a little easier for them, because they won't have to worry about who they need to get trained or how they need to get trained. We've been proactive, and we see this need and are addressing the need. And so one of the things too that we are working on as a community college, because we think that we're doing a good job of getting the word out, but sometimes, we miss the boat, or some people just consider us an opportunity for two-year students to transfer to universities. But we are so much more than that. We are equipped to respond to employer needs, to business, and to industry. But we just have to know what you need. We have to know what your needs are. And I was very intentional about mentioning other names, because these programs that I talked about, they weren't my idea. They came to me, or they came to our area through other people being in the community, raising concerns, sharing needs, and making sure that their point of contact was someone at Vance Granville Community College. And so while I share my information, know and understand that we work together as a team, and if you put that information in the hands of someone that works at the community college, we are going to do our best to try to respond to that, to figure out what it is we can do, and our goal is try to respond as quickly and as efficiently as possible. But we need you to let us know what your needs are, what you think the new trends are, where do you think the industry is going, so that we can begin to prepare ourselves to equip you with a skilled workforce. Thank you.
All right, good afternoon. All right, so this act is all about developing a talented and innovative pipeline. In Person County, one of the things that we realized is that without a plan, the people do what? Some people have been to Sunday school, all right? Right? Without a plan, the people perish. That's what we realized was happening in Person County, that we did not have a cohesive, deliberate plan for making sure that we were developing and investing in the pipeline for our workforce from the K-12 system through to the community colleges on to employment. And that's what the 614 plan is really all about. What we did, and I've been doing this work this is almost my 22nd year working in North Carolina community colleges, and I've never seen the kind of supportive partnerships that I've seen in Person County. This required our commissioners to let go of some money and make an investment in this plan that we proposed. It required our economic developer to work closely with us together so that we would have an advanced manufacturing sector partnership, that we actually have a launch date set with 2 major companies, but I won't tell you who they are. I'll let Sherry say the names of those companies for later. And also the partnership that we have with our public schools. This is what we want you to rip off and duplicate back where you are, this same model. So what we did is we aligned everything that we're doing at the college around the economic development priorities for our community, right? We realized that if we weren't focusing on advanced manufacturing, technology, entrepreneurism, agriculture, and the trades, that we were going to be out of sync and that we were not going to be doing what our community needed, right? And so that's where the 614 partnership came from. Let's go to the next slide. And so essentially what we did, these were some of the tactics. What we realized that we needed to do were a couple different things in order to make this happen. We realized that we needed to be more intentional about our marketing efforts. And so some of the dollars that are part of the 614 initiative are going towards specific marketing. So we're doing focus groups with young people and with their parents to help figure out why some of these high demand, high wage earning programs, people aren't enrolling in them, right? We have capacity in our electrical power production program where students, when they complete that program, they earn $45,000 to $50,000 a year with a diploma from that area, right? So figuring out what that issue is and what the gaps are. So marketing was a big piece of it in terms of tactics. The second part of it is around work-based learning, and that's what we educators actually call things like co-ops or internships. Just like some of the other folks have talked about, we realize we understand just how important it is for people to have internship opportunities. And so beginning in fall of 2020 at Piedmont Community College, you won't be able to complete a degree or a diploma or a long-term continuing ed certificate without having completed an internship or a work-based learning experience. That's how important that partnership is with employers, and that's what we want you to take back to your communities. The other part of it, there are two other parts of it, and Judy's going to talk a little bit more about that, but we realized we couldn't just start on one end with adults. We realized that we needed to start in 6th grade. And so the commitment that we've made in our community is that every single 6th grader in Person County gets to take a career exploration class that, guess what, connects to those same areas for economic development that we just talked about. That's the alignment. That's how you are intentional and deliberate about creating the kind of workforce that you need today and into the future. That's what our 614 pipeline does. And then the other part of it is around creating a regional partnership, and we've done that through the Next Generation Sector Grant around the advanced manufacturing area. All right, next one. And so we've just made good progress in this area. We have a work-based learning coordinator that's on track. Out of our degree programs, 13 of them, we have updated those curriculums so that they have work-based learning experiences. We're even making sure that our faculty get opportunities to go back into the workplace so that they're bringing relevant industry experiences to the classroom. And so I've got a couple of faculty members who are actually going to get a chance to go abroad. We've got a couple of companies with European bases, and they'll get a chance to go see their European operations this summer and then bring that back to the classroom. And again, this is all an intentional part of making sure that we're doing our best work to prepare the workforce. The other thing that we've done is terrific alignment with our public schools, and Judy's going to talk about that part.
Thank you, Dr. Senegal. And we keep using terms like alignment and purposeful, and that's what it has to be. You heard intentional. That's what it has to be. And you have to commit to it and follow through. You're going to run into bumps in the road. Those of you all from the public school side know scheduling is a nightmare. So imagine me as a CTE director approaching a principal at a middle school and saying that every 6th grader in this building needs to have an opportunity for career and technical education exploration. Well, you have band students, you have choral students, you have art students, and oftentimes that's the pathway they choose, and so they don't have an opportunity to explore in career and technical education. So we have purposefully and intentionally built our schedules around that opportunity for exploration. And so we have scheduled our 6th graders for 9-week rotations into every pathway. So what's another issue we might run into? The number of teachers you have in that building and the number of opportunities that you have between your schools. Well, we're small. We have 2 middle schools, and I have 4 CTE teachers in the middle school. I have 2 at each school. Well, can 2 teachers teach all the program pathways that I have at the high school? Of course not. So what we've done, again, intentionally rotating these middle school teachers between the 2 schools. So now instead of 2 opportunities for exploration, my students now have 4. And we have targeted the 4 major areas that you saw in this PowerPoint. So again, we're addressing technology, the advanced manufacturing, the ag, with those students as they rotate through our programs. So it's very intentional. It will take some work, but it can be done. You see here On this slide, you see a little bit about what we've done with our students. We've also included family and consumer sciences with this rotation, and we've often been asked within our district, well, my student goes to Southern Middle School, why can't they have family and consumer sciences and business? Well, that's only offered at Northern Middle School, but now we have an opportunity for our students to be exposed to all areas. And again, it's a 9-week rotation, all 4 program areas, and then we can doing purposeful planning, career development activities with our students so that they'll be a part of the planning as well as their parent, doing lots of night meetings, marketing, education, so that everyone will know where we're going. Our career pathways, again, those of us who are in K-12 world know that CTE is changing. We used to have 4 courses to be a CTE concentrator. Those students take the work keys exam as seniors, and so we've been really focused on making sure that our students go through those pathways. So we've created a program of study, not just for our 9 through 12, but 6 through 14. So our students are introduced to a program of study as a 6th grader. Well, you might say, wow, we know kids change their mind, you know, they won't stick to that, but we have it on paper, we can follow them, we can track changes, and we're not asking them to commit to it in the 6th grade. We're just asking for an opportunity to be able to share that with them. So in our concentrators, even though the state now requires only 2 courses, we are still requiring that our students participate in 4, and that way we're introducing them to the primary course level and to the more immediate course level, and then again pushing them toward the work-based learning by their senior year. And then this is just a chart that we've shared with everyone within our county, within our district, so that everyone will know, all those parties involved, where we're headed. You could talk to a student, you know, in Walmart. That's where I talk to a lot of students and parents in Walmart. And so they may say, Judy, my student wants to, you know, be in the food industry. Do you have a pathway for that? I can direct them to our pathway chart and they can follow it easier. And so we continue to upgrade the chart to meet the needs of our community. So as you see in this pathway, I have some work to do. Why? Because my middle school does not currently have an ag program. So that is one of my targeted areas, is trying to figure out how to get that in there. And then also you see as we flow through the chart, the middle of the chart is what we do in high school. And then on the 3rd row of the 3rd column, that's what we do at the community college. So we are tracking our students 6 to 14, introducing it. So as we go through the different slides, you'll see that some of my pathways we do have an elementary, have a middle school, we have a high school, and then we have college. And some of them we even have multiple pathways for our students to choose from. So we are, again, purposeful in what we're planning for our students as we go through our 6 to 14 pathways. And Dr. Senegal and I were just sitting there, and as we heard some of the other speakers, we were already planning new pathways from what we've heard here today. So we continue to grow this program, build this program, and get our families and our students involved. Because a lot of time what we found as we've surveyed and had our focus groups is that our folks did not know what we had going on in our buildings. And so we're increasing not just tours for our students, but tours for our parents, and our industry is committing to this project, which I'm very excited to announce that 2 of our companies have committed to, if this student stays in that pathway, and when they get to their senior year, we're willing to give them a paid internship once they complete this coursework. So it's an awesome opportunity to grow our students through the program and meet the economic needs of Person County. And then this is our, also we're not leaving, you know, we're technical, I'm CTE, but I also carry a hat in Person County where I am also the director of the Career and College Promise Program, which is our dual enrollment. So I work with the college-bound students as well. But also within that pathway, we're trying to encourage our college-bound students to also take technical programs. So we give them an opportunity. We've built their schedules so that they would be able to get all the AP that they want, still be college-bound, but also have a little touch of technical education as they move through those pathways. And we've worked with the college. The college has been an awesome partner with us to work on the scheduling with our students. You'll notice at the end of the column it says offered first and fourth periods. So we strategically plan these times of the day that our students can go. We have transportation. We try to support them with some of their textbooks and the supplies and things that they need in this program. But it's a collaborative effort. We've gotten donations from some of our industries in the community to support our students in buying the materials that they need to take the classes. So we all have teamed together to make this happen.
So the last thing that we'll say about the 614 partnership, it was so impressive when we shared this with a private donor that we have gotten a commitment for last dollar scholarships. It's called the Pacer Promise Program. That is completely privately funded. It's for all of these pathways, and so when students are interested in pursuing any one of these degrees at the college, they apply for financial aid, and we have made a commitment through the Pacer Promise Program that's privately funded to ensure that they'll be able to graduate with that degree with zero debt. That's what these kinds of partnerships can lead to. Thank you.
Well, good afternoon again. My name is Rhonda High, and I'm here to bring you information about Ramp East. And if you're thinking, well, what is Ramp East? That's exactly what I was thinking when I heard about it. I came on board into the community college world just in June. And in June, I was introduced to this new concept of Ramp East and said, hey, make this, sell this. So I learned about it really quickly and realized how important it is for this initiative to work. And we've done everything we can to make it work, and we will continue to do everything that we can to continue to make it work. Ramp East is the regional advanced manufacturing pipeline for Eastern North Carolina. What we found is that industries are moving into North Carolina at a very rapid pace. They're coming into North Carolina because they see an opportunity. However, with this opportunity brings jobs, which is a great thing. But when they bring jobs, it was being more and more difficult for those jobs to be filled with individuals who could actually have the knowledge to be able to do those jobs. So Ramp East was built to be able to educate individuals who have an interest in entering into the advanced manufacturing world. As I said earlier, there's companies coming into North Carolina. They are bringing jobs. We need to ensure that those jobs can be filled and be filled with qualified individuals. So that is the purpose of Ramp East. Community colleges are continuously educating individuals to be able to go out into the workforce. However, we want to make sure that these individuals are educated and ready for the advanced manufacturing world. Many individuals think advanced manufacturing may be that grungy, grimy work. We want to make sure that they realize that these jobs are about robotics and computers and more advanced. So we are pulling all these education opportunities together to make sure that those individuals are ready and prepared to go into the workforce. And I don't really like to read slides to you because you all are very educated and I'm sure you can read, so I want to talk to you about it to make sure that you understand exactly the importance of Ramp East and what it's actually doing. But as I said earlier, it is here to provide existing and new industries within the Ramp East region's sustainable output of trained individuals to go into that workforce. This presentation was prepared to just give you a base course information. So I'm going to go and deviate off just so that you can understand. Ramp East basically is serving 10 counties, and there's 8 community colleges that are participating in making sure that this collaborative effort is successful. These community colleges are working together to provide this 96-hour course curriculum to be able to prepare those individuals to go into the workforce. This is a partnership. The community colleges cannot do it alone. So we are working together with economic developers, we're working together with high schools, we're working together with the businesses and the industries in the area. When we create this pipeline, it is integral for us to make sure that we have support for from those businesses to know what we're trying to do to assist them in having actually the qualified workers that they need. So we need to have their support. So we are going out into the community and talking to the different businesses, letting them know what we are trying to do to be able to make sure that they have qualified workers entering into the workforce. Ramp East is a partnership. Ramp East is not the community college. Ramp East is not the economic developers. Ramp East is not the businesses. Ramp East is a partnership. It is all of us working together to ensure that these jobs that are coming into our state are filled with those qualified workers in which are needing to be filled. There's 2 regions that are being serviced here, which we have the Turning Point region and Region Q. So those 5 counties that are being serviced, you see here listed on the screen here. We have Edgecombe, Halifax, Nash, Northampton, Wilson. Those are being serviced through Turning Point, as well as Region Q are servicing the Bertie, Martin, Pitt, Beaufort, and Hertford counties. And we have a very sensitive clicker here, so I apologize for that. But again, our target audiences for Ramp East include, again, I say we're working with the high schools, we're working with everyone trying to make sure that our workforce is educated. So we start with our K through 12, we're working with high schools and our CTE coordinators to ensure that these individuals are receiving education to be able to know that entering into the advanced manufacturing world starts as early as being in high school. The more you know, the better off you are. So we're making sure that we start early educating these individuals. We're also focusing on adult learners. These are those learners that range between age 25 years and up. Some individuals may be in a sector right now where they want to change and go into advanced manufacturing. So that we are focusing on making sure that those individuals know what they're getting into so that they can be prepared when they get there and they're not shocked when they get into that workforce. So we're also focusing on military. Military is a great area for us to be able to educate them and get those individuals back into the workforce and make sure that they're educated as well before they enter into the advanced manufacturing world. Within the Ramp East course curriculum, we have 96 hours that we're providing to these individuals so that they will be prepared. Those courses include the introduction to manufacturing. Those individuals will complete their OSHA 10 certification, which will be something that they can take with them. Hopefully they will get into a position and make this a career and stay for the duration of their career, but they will have that OSHA 10 certification upon completion of their 96-hour course curriculum. They will also be introduced and have math for measurement. Many of these advanced manufacturing jobs are technical in nature. They, again, are not those grungy, grimy jobs that most individuals would stereotypically think that they are. So we're here to prepare those individuals so that they will know what they're getting into and how important it is to make sure that they are mathematically ready for those positions. We also introduce Lean Six Sigma to those individuals so that they are understanding processes and how to work with people and how to possibly move up and become managers within those companies. Those individuals will not have a belt completion when they're finished, but they will be introduced into the Lean Six Sigma world by having the Yellow Belt course. They will also have problem solving and working smart. You can have all the knowledge in the world going into the workforce, but if you don't know how to work with people, it's going to be a problem. So we're finding that some of these individuals entering into advanced manufacturing are lacking the people skills that they are needing. So we are taking the time to ensure that they have those, because we want to make sure that once they get into these positions, they are able to sustain the employment. So we are focusing on working smart and giving them those people skills that are needed when they get into the workforce. Students are also going to be able to learn and know how to complete a resume. Resumes, that's the face of your education, the face of your experience, and we want to make sure that they are prepared to go into the workforce. During these 96 hours, we make sure that the students are prepared. We help them write resumes if they don't have one. If they do have one, we will go in and we will make sure that we will edit and make sure that they are prepared. At Halifax Community College, we've taken it at least one step further by ensuring that these students are also provided the appropriate attire for going into the workforce. As we all know, now first impressions are lasting. You never get a second chance to make a first impression. So we have partnered with a local business in the area that provides the attire to these students that are in our 96-hour course curriculum, just so that they could, when you walk into that interview, so they can feel good about themselves. Because we want to make sure, again, that they are prepared and they are ready to enter into the advanced manufacturing world. This is just a listing of some of the champions that have signed up to support the Ramp East Advanced Manufacturing Program in our areas. All of these are not in one specific area, but are located within the 10 counties that are supported through our program. And we are hoping to get more and hoping that it will grow. But we have received a wonderful showing of support from the businesses in the area. This is a positive program to be able to make sure that they are getting qualified individuals entering into the workforce. Here you'll have a listing of the different courses or cohorts that are being run right now in the Ramp East program. Again, there are 8 community colleges that are participating. What we hope to see is that Ramp East may become Ramp NC. And that Ramp NC is something that I'm saying. I'm not saying that there is a program out here called Ramp NC, but I'm hoping to see that it will be Ramp NC, because this program just pulls together what you all are already doing. You're already educating students. You're already working with businesses. You're already ensuring that these individuals are educated when they go into the workforce, but Ramp East brings structure to it and says, hey, these are the courses that are needed for entry into the advanced manufacturing sector. So again, as I've said earlier, Ramp East is only focused on 10 counties and is in eastern North Carolina, because initially it was just identified that that's where the bulk of those jobs were coming into the state. But we all know that those companies are coming into the entire state, not just eastern North Carolina. And we have a website, rampeast.com, provides any information that you may need to be able to get additional information about Ramp East. If you'd like to refer someone, or if you have questions, or you need to contact an individual to get additional information on Ramp East, please feel free to go to the website or suggest the website to others. Ramp East is growing. It is booming. People are hearing about Ramp East and hearing about the jobs that individuals are landing through participating in Ramp East, and everybody wants to know about it. Upon the completion of the 96 hours, those students are guaranteed an interview with each supporting business in that area. I am employed at Halifax Community College. In Halifax Community College, we have 9 supporting businesses. So upon completion, we make sure that if we had 7 to 10 students to complete Ramp East, that means on that particular given day at the completion of that program, we could have between 60 and 70 interviews on campus that day. All those students get an interview with everyone. And those interviews are for existing job openings that are at those companies. How exciting is that? Very, very exciting. So we are just trying to make sure that everybody realizes the importance of Ramp East and programs such as that mirror Ramp East. You may be doing something very similar in your area and it may not be called Ramp East, but we want to make sure that the word gets out to let you know that Ramp East is here to stay, and we want to make sure we promote it and we ensure that these individuals are able to obtain and retain gainful employment in our communities. Now, I do have a video here, but based on our time, I just want to make sure that you know that if you go to rampeast.com, there is a video there that tells you all about Ramp East. It shows you examples of those students at different businesses doing tours. We take the students around and so they can see the inside of different companies so that they'll know and be prepared when they go in there. The video is a little less than 5 minutes long, so please feel free to take a look at that video at your leisure, because I want to make sure that you have an opportunity to ask any of the panelists any questions that you have. But it is located on the Ramp East website, and again, that video is a little less than 5 minutes, so please feel free to take a look at that video. Ramp East does have recruiters designated to be able to assist us in getting students into the program. So if you know of someone, or if you would like to make any referrals, please reach out to Miss Angie Jenkins or Miss Christy Harris. Those are our Ramp East recruiters, and they are designated to be able to do that for Ramp East on a full-time basis. They each have a region that they cover, so I wanted to make sure that you had their contact information so that you can pass that on. Although if you have any questions, you're more than welcome to reach out to me or any of the other individuals that work with Ramp East at any of the 8 participating colleges. Thank you.
Okay, we are a few minutes ahead of schedule. If you have any questions that you want to send in, we don't have any waiting so far. I would ask, while we wait to see if anyone sends anything in, and we have all of you here and you have all of these community leaders here. We heard Secretary Copeland talk about the rapid pace of change in manufacturing. What can we do as community partners to help you prepare a future workforce for jobs that don't exist yet?
If not, I'll just use my teacher. Okay, I was going to just use my teacher voice. Okay. The biggest thing we've got to do is invest. I was having a conversation earlier, and one of the mistakes that we make in education is we forget that there are actually 7 different types of intelligence. And unfortunately, in education, the thing that we look for the most often is an ability to take tests. And we ignore the abilities and capabilities and strengths that other students have. And that's the biggest thing. We need you to keep pushing us to honor the talents and the gifts that other students bring to the table that aren't necessarily interested in going for that traditional 4-year degree path where you live on the campus and you accrue a ton of debt. And I'm sorry, that's not necessarily what always happens when you go to a 4-year institution. Not if you go through the community college, but that's what we need. We need your help reminding people that these other kinds of jobs have value, are honorable, and these are wonderful ways to earn a living.
Still a few minutes. Is there anybody in the audience who may have an app aversion who would like me to bring a microphone out so you can ask any questions? Okay. Do you want to give it a try to just raise your voice, or and we'll see if it's needed.
Thank you. And I would like to add with the Ramp East Advanced Manufacturing Institute that each of these students that go through the program we are requiring there's a prerequisite for them to have a career readiness certificate. This actually gives those employers that security of knowing that these are employable individuals. We are wanting them to know that we are supplying them with individuals that have the skills necessary and needed to be able to fulfill those jobs that they're bringing into our state. So yes, this program was relatively new, was new when I started, and I'm just really excited to see how it has grown and how it has taken off and the support we're getting, because I was at a business, because I'm the customized training director, and so this program has afforded me the opportunity to build those relationships with the business and industry in the area by selling this program to them so that they can understand the importance of what we're doing. And while I was in that business, they were so impressed with the education and foundation that we're providing to these students. They are inquiring on how we can actually give these classes to their existing employees. While this program is designed to prepare individuals for entry into the advanced manufacturing sector, not necessarily to upskill their employees, I was able to speak with them about possibly offering those same classes, but as an apprenticeship program. So these classes are great preparatory classes, as well as classes to assist with those existing individuals that work in the advanced manufacturing world. So I'm here for any questions that you may have about Ramp East, because the program is new. We are working out some kinks. But at this point, it is a wonderful, wonderful program that I think is going to help a lot of individuals.
Hello. Okay, just want to make sure it was working. One of the things that I failed to mention when I was doing my presentation is the importance of us being able to remove barriers for our students. And so one of the things that we have been able to do at Advanced Granville that has, that is going to impact now, but I think have a bigger impact in the future, is to remove the barrier of transportation. And so in partnership with CARTS, we are able to, as a college, with a lot of help and input from Mr. Ferguson, who's over our foundation, we are able to provide transportation to our students from any of the 4 counties that we serve to any of the campuses that we have free of charge. So in addition to CARTS, I don't know if anyone from CARTS is here, but woo woo, we really appreciate that. But in addition to us preparing, the workforce for those jobs, we're also trying to work to remove barriers. And for us, that was a big one, being able to provide transportation to and from the different campuses free of charge to our students.
Well, I don't know about you, but I feel pretty good about our future with all these energetic, excited, passionate educators, and I know we're in good hands. Harry, did you have something?
Just one quick question. I know Dr. Harris was talking about, and Don mentioned barriers. I think there's one thing that you had in your presentation that kind of went over, and that's felons. I'm working with a young man now who has a felony who can't get employed, and everybody's hard to place them, but colleges can train them, but they got to have someone that hired them. They don't think they realize all the benefits. And we're crossing out a lot of people who can really help us in that workforce development. So I don't know if you want to mention a little bit about that, Dr. Harris.
Yeah, I have a great success story about an ex-offender hire. There is an electrical company, this guy, commercial electrician, who works on like big buildings, car dealership buildings, and things like that. And I say that because that's specifically what he was working on at the time. He works with the county jail to work to hire work release people to learn the electrical trade, and at the same time that the work release people are doing that, working with him, they're going to school at the community college to do some training. I don't know exactly what the program is, but it's to get to a certain certificate or degree of some credential of some sort, so that when they do get released, this guy hires them, just hires them straight out because they've had the experience, they've gotten a credential, and now they are ready to go to work full time. And then when he hires them, if they are interested in going to move forward and get an associate's degree or something further than that, he takes advantage of the programs that we have, the on-the-job training, the federal bonding, everything that I mentioned up there, that he can use to hire these people and really help with their salaries, their professional development, their academic development, and things like that. And I love that story. I wish there were lots more of them, but the federal bonding program is really instrumental in helping not just the former offenders, but again, the youth that haven't had any job experience, people that just adults that haven't had any job experience, but specifically the former offenders. And they work really well with community groups, churches, and some of those wraparound service organizations to get to those former offenders that when they come out, if they don't have a support system, they have to have a support system. And just knowing that there are employers out there who are willing to take that risk because they've taken advantage of some of the federal resources is helpful. So, Thank you for asking that.
Thank you. Let's give them a final round of applause.